You won. Should I say the name of it?
Yeah.
So we call
Where
it
do you
Pistol
need it?
5.
Yep,
Everybody knows everybody's plays, so it's okay to show.
Yep.
That's very true. I found examples from Eric Spoelstra, Greg Popovich, all calling out Pistol 5, the name of the set we're going to break down today that NBA teams love to run. Now, pistol is commonly referred to as a step-up screen from a guard-to-guard on the wing and then followed up with a big setting another ball screen. This action was popularized by the D'Antoni 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns, where in an early offense or as a set play, they would throw the ball ahead, hand it back, and then go into the chase action. Now, the Pistol 5 action is designed for a big to be free throw line extended, almost splitting between the three-point line and the free throw line, and then being available for the pass on the wing, ready for the ball instead of a guard. This can flow into multiple reads and actions. It can flow into handoff, keep, backdoors, which we'll all cover soon. The first origins I found of this were in 2004 from a scouting notebook that I had, where the Suns ran a similar action where they would pass it to the three on the wing and then stagger away, a set that we'll talk about later. But for the most part, they flowed into this from like a secondary action. So it would be a down screen with a big flashing back to the ball, or a set with some basic action. The big would flash to the elbow and go into that handoff or hand back action. Not necessarily the Pistol 5 action we're going to look at. I showed the Spoelstra call for it, and the Heat really ran this a lot with Bam, but the basic signal for this is a pistol sign with a 5 up in the air. You can see Mike Brown calling that here, as well as De'Aaron Fox after the free throw signaling the Pistol 5 action. So it's like a gun signal with the 5. The basic premise of this set is pretty simple. Pass it ahead to the big, and then the option to cut on the outside or inside for either a handoff or a backdoor cut, or the big keeping it, basically allowing the players to make reads in space with shooters spaced out. So in this scenario, Fox is going to cut on the inside, Sabonis is going to keep it and attack the basket.
So Domas is elbow extended. I can throw it to him. I can cut right, I can cut left. Let's say I cut inside and he doesn't pass it to me.
Oh, no.
So Malik is coming with me.
Okay.
Now, if I don't get it, I can just turn it into a screen. And you don't want to switch a guard onto him. And now he's going downhill against a guard.
This under ball screen option is a really tough thing to guard because you can't switch it like they talked about. But essentially it is a brush screen with the guard kind of using their backside or their back to set a ball screen for the big. Allows the big to get downhill and then create from there. What teams started to do is to sag and help in the gap more. So as this ball screen set, Şengün goes under, Gordon steps up in the gap here, Sabonis turns it right into a handoff, Şengün's completely out of the play, leads to an uncontested 3, the beauty of spacing with shooters.
And with all the shooters that we have, if you help, you got Keegan in the corner, you have Harrison Barnes over there, and you have Kevin Huerter at the top.
Running this with pace causes more problems for the defense. As you can see, the fake handoff here, 2 Rockets go with the player cutting, Trey Lyles. Sabonis gets downhill. Now it's on the low man to step up and help. That leaves a Keegan Murray open in the corner for a corner 3.
So if I throw it to him and I take the outside cut, if he doesn't hand this off, if he does hand it off, I'm getting to the basket.
Right.
If he doesn't hand this off, you have a shooter in Kevin Huerter coming off, or if he takes a dribble up, you have a shooter coming
Usually,
down.
Kev's here.
And I think
Get him a shot.
Yeah.
If it's fourth quarter, I'm usually going just to get
Probably coming back down this
Fourth
way.
quarter time.
And as y'all know, and as y'all two know, a clear side pick and roll, one of the hardest things to guard.
And that's what this flows into, is an empty corner pick and roll. So the hand back here goes into a ball screen, then a rescreen. And not only the spacing for shooting, but the spacing for cutting allows players to use their IQ to find space and cut off the ball. Since De'Aaron Fox is only shooting 33% from 3, teams will elect to go underneath this action often, but the threat of the downhill handoff allows him to read and react easier, stop behind, and then attack closeouts from there. The pace the Kings play with allow them to get in this action quicker and cause problems for the defense. They throw it again here to Sabonis, comes off a handoff. The clear side spacing creates a shake opportunity and allows Sabonis to catch it on the roll. Another example here of them getting to the next, where Sabonis fakes it, then goes to the next player, hits Monk on the downhill handoff. Look at this nasty yo-yo move, and Monk for the finish. Now, I first saw this action in the 2015-16 playoffs with the Trailblazers and Damian Lillard. When teams would deny him, they would run a quick backdoor action or a handoff action. So throw it ahead to like Plumlee and then have him backdoor cut into space. The Hawks called this Pistol 5 in 2016-17, but they used it as a step-up ball screen with the 5-man, not necessarily a 2-man handoff game. The Trailblazers more often than not ran this action with a weak side stagger screen or 2 players screening away to occupy the help side defense. The use of the stagger screen weak side was something Brad Stevens used in his playbook in 2016-17, where they intentionally curled the first player, then the second player coming off of it. So they would throw it ahead to the wing, fake the handoff on purpose, screen away with 2 players, the first player curls inside, and the second player comes off that screen, something I call Boston action. The Hornets also ran this in the same year, where they would just set a straight stagger screen away for a shooter. This set really became a nightmare to guard when the Warriors picked it up and added to their playbook, with Kevin Durant as the player handling in the pistol action, then 2 players screening away involving Steph and Clay in both that screening action, where you see the first player curl and play and make reads out of it. Klay Thompson curls here for the layup. And in true Warriors fashion, they would run this randomly and use reads out of like the random motion offense as Steph comes off of it here. The Pelicans ran this for Anthony Davis when they ran him at the 5, something the Lakers will steal in a few years. And the Raptors ran a creative set, throwing the ball ahead here to Jakob Poeltl in the playoffs, and then screening up here for DeMar DeRozan, coming off a downhill handoff, and then getting to his right hand driving to the basket. 2018-19 is when it got fun, when the 76ers ran this awesome set involving Ben Simmons, JJ Redick, and Joel Embiid. You'd see a fake ghost screen for Ben Simmons, and then JJ Redick would pop and then throw it to Embiid on the side and go into that pistol 5 action right after it. So you'd get like the downhill option, the pick and pop option, and then throw it to Embiid, allow him to play and read out of that. And then of course, as great coaches and teams steal, everybody saw the Warriors running this and decided they were going to run it too. The Knicks, the Mavericks, the Bulls, you name it, they basically took this set for themselves and added to their playbook. Ended up being about 13 teams ran this set in 2018-2019. Brad Stevens and the Celtics added another counter when they had Kyrie, where they would throw it to the wing, keep it, and then screen down in the middle of the floor for Kyrie or for Tatum most of the time, looking for a quick catch and shoot opportunity, and then if not, running for like a ball screen. With Bam Adebayo being one of the best handlers and playmakers in the NBA at the 5 position, the Miami Heat ran this action more than any team in the NBA. The edit I had for this was like 15 minutes long. They did multiple options out of it. They had split cuts, they had handbacks, they had keeps. They would run bunch action, which basically means throwing it to Bam and then having 3 or 4 players bunched up together and running cuts and screens randomly off of that. Gave teams nightmares in the playoffs. They ran this action all the time for Dragic, Hero, and Robinson in that handoff action with Bam. Then the Lakers, of course, used this with Anthony Davis at the 5, running different players and different things, options out of it, setting ball screens for him, allowing them to make plays. And this action obviously was lethal, running it with LeBron and AD at the same time because teams can't switch this action. So it became a nightmare for teams to guard. The next season, they used this primarily with Gasol and LeBron, who had great chemistry, allowed LeBron to get a lot of backdoor cuts and quick backdoor layups off of this, not only out of 5 out, but out of this pistol 5 action as well. And then, of course, this season, the Nuggets started to add this to their playbook with Jokic being featured more and more, and had basically empty side action. You know, their 2-man game's very, very difficult to guard, so adding this was a great move. The Heat added the pistol 3 action, which was basically just signifying that Jimmy Butler was the handler out of this. So you see them run the same sort of action they had used to, with back screen counters, down screen counters, with Jimmy Butler handling it instead of Bam out of pistol 3. Of course, when Bam did handle it, they would run special back screen counters as well for the playoffs. Duncan Robinson gets a back screen here for Jimmy Butler. Great defensive play by Brook Lopez. What that led into was everybody seeing the success of Bam and the Heat running it and probably the time off in the bubble. And you see everybody add to their playbook. The Timberwolves, the Nuggets, the Cavs with Kevin Love and Evan Mobley, the Grizzlies with Steven Adams and Ja were running it. Everybody was basically using this set in some way or another. And the creativity increased as well. Here we see a horns with a ghost screen into a flare screen, and then continuing the movement, throwing it into pistol 5 action with Steven Adams. Incredible plays. And then this year, of course, the Nuggets are running it. You see the ball get thrown ahead to Jokic often with Bruce Brown and Jamal Murray running off of it. And you'll see multiple counters and actions off of it where you see them go into a Chicago action or like a pin down into a dribble handoff off of it or a back screen into a dribble handoff. Multiple counters and versions that they can run with Jokic's creativity. Thank you so much for watching this breakdown on the Kings version of the Pistol 5 and the background on it and some of the other actions. The full version of this breakdown is available on my Substack that I use for support as a Patreon alternative. If you want to go check that out there, the link in the description below.